And a couple of last second humans. Muting everything. All right, so coming to a comfortable seated position, you can have one leg in front or on top. Hands can just rest lightly on the knees. If you're feeling it, you can turn the palms to face up, really drawing the shoulders down and back. Feel your sit bones root down into the floor, lengthen through the crown of the head. And just allow your breath to be whatever it's going to be as you bring your awareness into the space of the mat. You can close the eyes if that feels right. Soften the face, soften the brow, soften the jaw. Slowly starting to lengthen the breath, extending the inhale as deep as you can all the way down to the belly. And exhaling for just a little bit longer than the inhale. Try to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Make sure you're not tensing up as you inhale. Feel yourself settling in. Inhale, just reach the arms forward and up. And exhale, let them float down, back down to the knees. Inhale, slowly reaching up. Maybe you turn the palms to face down. Exhaling and the palms face up, so the arms have a floating quality to them. Inhale, reach. Exhale, float. Now inhale, reaching all the way up, forward, reaching overhead, and then exhale, let the arms go wide, opening the chest. Let's reverse that. Inhale, arms sweep up to the sides. Exhale, float down the front. Inhale, reaching up the front. Exhale, floating down the sides. One last time, inhale, reaching up the sides. Exhale, floating down the front. Open the eyes if you haven't already. Take the right hand behind, left hand across, gentle twist. Light pressure into the left hand, just until it feels right for you. Looking over the right shoulder, big breath in. Big breath out in the twist. Inhale, melt it back to center. Left hand behind, right hand across. Gentle twist. Light pressure into the right hand, looking over the left shoulder. Big inhale. Big exhale. Inhale, melt it back to center. And just walk the hands forward. Everything is going to have kind of a slow motion quality to it today. Walking the hands forward as far as you can. Let the head hang down wherever your stretch is. Nice deep breaths. You can press your palms down into the floor. And then slowly walk it back up. trying to feel every centimeter of movement. Take the right hand out to the side and just start to tilt into it until you get a little stretch in the lower side body, a little bit of the lower back, maybe even some into the front of the lower side of the body. You can walk the right hand out as far as feels right for you, and then you can start to reach the left arm up, playing around with positioning here. If you reach towards the ceiling and that's enough for you, wonderful. If you want to take it up and over, bicep next to the ear, you can. You can even play with very gentle rotation, either drawing the heart up towards the ceiling or down towards the floor a little bit. You can even take it and make it more of a dynamic stretch, rolling from one to the other, feeling the stretch move across the lower part of the body. Don't forget your breath. It's important. And then let the left arm guide you all the way back up to center. We'll walk the left hand out, finding the point that feels right. Hip is pressing down into the floor, nice and stable, finding the stretch, finding the depth that feels right for today. And then take the right arm up. Maybe you pause and kind of poke around with the arm, feeling what is best. Maybe you just bring it right up and over, breathing into the side body, opening it up, softening everything. Maybe finding that little tiny bit of rotation. Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't feel good, and you don't do it today. Try to match your slow movement with your deep breath. And then we'll let the right arm guide us all the way back up. You can just kind of shift it side to side, get a little movement in the lower body, just trying to move the rib cage. Maybe you make little circles if that feels good. All right, now let's switch whichever foot is in front or on top, finding the one that doesn't feel quite as natural, but it means it's the one we need to do more. I'm going to take a slightly deeper twist. Right hand behind, left hand across, pressing just a little bit more into the knee, looking over the right shoulder. Can you look past the right shoulder so even your eyes are reaching all the way around? Taking as deep of a breath in the twist as you can, really opening up the space and then melting into it. Bring it back to center. Left hand behind, right hand across. Second side, letting that twist start at the base of the spine, going all the way up into the base of the skull, and even the eyes are trying to look as far as you can over the left shoulder. Bring it back to center and just kind of wiggle everything out, find some fluid movement, find some just really, really nice movement within the space that we've been working on. Shake it out. All right. Feeling a little more human. Let's bring the bottom of the feet together. Walk the feet out away from you. So if you have a block handy, a good measurement is you should be able to put a block in between your heels and the rest of you. Hands to the ankles. Inhale, lift up through the heart. Draw the shoulders down and back. And exhale, round the spine, reaching all the way back. Inhale, lift it up. And exhale, round. Again, inhale, heart goes up high. And exhale, draw it in. Lengthen straight up from the ground and slowly start to hinge forward, trying to keep the spine as long as you can. Imagine like someone's got a string out the top of your head, and that's what's being used to draw you forward. You can walk the hands out for support if you need to, or if you're feeling extra spicy today, you can interlace the fingers behind you and press out through the fist. If this is too deep of a stretch, if this is too much, just release your hands back down to the floor. Big breath in, big breath out. And we'll lift it all the way back up. Take the hands, bring them over the tops of the knees, getting a hold of the underside of the knees. You can also come from the back, but sometimes that messes with the wrists, so I like coming over the front. Sitting up nice and tall, engage through the core. Everything is strong here, supporting your body. You're just going to press the knees towards the floor, using the strength of your hips, and your hands are resisting. So you're creating your own resistance using the arms, using the hands. You should feel this in the inner thighs. Release that. Once again, press the knees towards the floor using the strength of the hips. You're not pushing down with the hands, you're actually pulling up. And relax the engagement. Let's do that one more time, pressing down through the knees, opening out. You might even notice that your glutes are firing up here. You might notice that your inner thighs are like, oh, hi, good morning. Relax. And then you can just give it a couple little flap flaps. Beautiful. Maybe stretch the legs out nice and long. Give it a little shake here, a little windshield wiper. And then bring the hands behind you. Walk the feet out wider than your hips. We're going to do some big windshield wipers with the knees. Now here you are welcome to keep the sit bones firmly planted and just move the legs. Or you can start to take it a little bit deeper, almost starting to roll up onto one hip. Make sure your heels are nice and wide. This gives you more freedom of movement. And just allows for a nicer stretch. If you feel any twinging on your knees as you roll to one side and the other, flex your feet. This helps protect everything around the knees. Let's go one more time to both sides. To the right, and to the left. Come back to center, and then just straighten your legs out from wherever you are. Now I'm going to turn to the side here so you guys can see what's going on. Heels are wider than your hips, but not much wider than your mat. Flex the toes back towards your face and try to sit up nice and tall. Now, if when you try to sit up nice and tall with your legs straight, if you feel like your lower back is being pulled on, you have a couple of options. You can try taking the legs a little bit wider, see if that helps, or just put a little bend in the knees so that you can rock forward on the sit bones. You can also play with bringing the heels a little closer together. Just find that sweet spot for you. So, sitting up nice and tall, legs are straight, toes are flexing back towards the face. As you flex the toes back towards the face, see if you can relax your quads. Notice if you're flexing back with your whole leg, try to relax the upper part of the leg. So it's just from the ankle joint. And then we're just going to walk the hands forward. Now maybe your hands come down to the floor right here and that's it. And that's okay. Maybe you can walk forward a little bit more. Maybe not. Maybe you get there and go, oh, this is terrible. Walk it back. It's fine. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then walk the hands back in. Now, starting from the top of the head, we're just going to melt. Bring the chin to the chest. And then the crown of the head reaches for the floor. And the spine starts to round. And then you're hanging down as low as you can. Hands can be on the outside edges of the legs. They can be out in front of you. Just whatever feels right, whatever feels okay. Notice where you feel tension here, where you feel the stretch here. Like for me, I feel it all the way up at my sit bones because the back side of my body is really tight today and it's pulling on things. Now, hanging out here, we're just going to point the toes and then flex. Point, notice what releases, and flex. Notice what finds the tension again. Point, maybe you're sinking down a little bit, gravity's drawing you into it. Flex, finding your stretch. One more time, point, and flex. Slowly, with the support of your hands, we're going to stack the spine, sitting up nice and tall. Let's bring the legs in together. You can give them a little windshield wiper, a little rock back and forth, a little shake out. And then from here, left leg is going to be long, right out from the hip. Draw your right foot up nice and high towards the inner thigh. Now, I don't want you to tuck the heel up so high that you start to open out to the side. If you need to, keep the bottom of the foot at the knee. As long as your hips stay square forward, that's where I want you to be. Lengthen up through the spine here, and we're just going to start to walk the hands out, letting the spine round as you come out over the leg. Maybe your elbows come down, maybe they don't. Maybe you grab some blocks to put under your elbows here. Maybe you have to lift them up a little bit more. Just use them however you need to. Nice deep breaths. Working the nose in the general and vague direction of your knee. Making sure that you are actively relaxing. So whenever you feel yourself start to tense up in a stretch, see if you can soften it. Deep breath in. And a big breath out. And then we'll slowly walk the hands in. Take the right hand to the outside of the left thigh, knee, calf, ankle, wherever. Rotating the chest over to the side and trying to find a slight fold in the twist. If you're feeling extra spicy today, you can take your left hand, reach it behind the back, and try to find your right thigh. One more big inhale. And we'll slowly unwind, coming back up. Take the right knee up and straighten it out. We'll bend up the left. Sitting up nice and tall, walk the hands forward. Melting over the leg, wherever you need to be. Maybe you've got the blocks, you've got the elbows on them, maybe not. Maybe you're just hanging out over the leg. Find the softness if you feel yourself tensing up. And big breaths. And we'll slowly walk the hands in, coming all the way up. Left hand comes to the outside of the right leg, whether it's at the thigh, the knee, the calf, the ankle, wherever. Find your twist, slight fold. You did on the other side, you want to give it a go on this side. Take the right arm, stretch it back. See if you can find left thigh. All you've got to do is get the fingertips there. You're not trying to get a hold of it. Big breath in, big breath out. And then we'll slowly unwind. Walk it back up. Bring the left knee up, straighten it out. Bend the right knee up and take it to the outside edge of the left knee. Right hand behind. We're doing a very twist heavy practice here today because opening up through the spine, wringing out the spine helps the entire body. Just feels good. You can gently press the left elbow into the right knee, or you can hug the knee in if that feels better for you. Checking in with your left leg. What's it doing? Is your foot flexed? Is the leg active? Is it just hanging out? Find a little bit of strength in that leg. And then slowly unwind. Uncross the foot, straighten it out, switch sides. Left knee bends up, foot goes to the outside edge of the right knee. Left hand behind, right arm stretches up high, elbow to the knee, or hug it in. Either way. Strong breaths. Checking in with the right leg. What's it up to? Slowly unwind. Uncross the leg, reach it out, give it a little shake, a little wiggle. Now we'll sweep the legs around, coming onto all fours. Join me in a tabletop position. Palms are under the shoulders, knees are under the hips, and you're pushing the floor away. Take a moment here and just let your chest slide towards the floor so you feel your shoulders kind of crunch up together, and then push the floor away, creating space between your shoulder blades. Let's do that again. Chest just slides down. It might be a small movement. It might not be a big movement, and that's okay. And then push the floor away. Let's do that one more time. Chest towards the floor, crunching into the shoulders, and then push the floor away. Keep that strength. A little bit of cat-cow here. Inhale, reach the heart forward. Eyes go forward. Sit bones try to find the ceiling. And then exhale, round the spine up. Inhale, cow pose. Maybe find a very gentle forward and back movement here. Maybe not. Maybe it's a stillness kind of day. And exhale, round the spine. Tuck the tailbone down, tuck the chin. Maybe finding that same forward and back movement. Inhale, cow pose, reaching out. And then exhale, reaching up. Come back to a neutral tabletop position. We'll take the right arm, stretch it up nice and high. As you exhale, slowly thread the needle. Hand goes between the left wrist and the left knee until you can come down to the shoulder, to the side of the head. If this is too much for today, you can always grab a block, throw it under your shoulder and your head, making sure the weight is balanced over both knees. And then maybe sliding the left fingers along the floor towards the top of your mat. Nice big inhales, big exhales. You can press the back of the right hand into the floor, slightly deeper stretch. Really active stretch there. And then we'll slide the left hand back in, pressing into the palm. Unwind and reach for the ceiling again. Open up through the heart. Reaching the right hand down for the floor. Reset. Tabletop. Left arm reaches up nice and high. Nice and slow. We thread the needle. Down to the shoulder. Down to the head. Finding that balanced position. Grabbing any modifiers you need. It's always worth it to find a modification that feels right for you. You can start to slide the right fingers out along the floor towards the top of your mat. Maybe pressing into the back of the left hand, deep in the stretch in the shoulder. Slowly slide the right hand back in, pressing into the floor. And unwind. Reach the left arm up nice and high. Open it out. And hand to the floor. Sit the hips back, child's pose. Forehead can rest on the floor. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Walking the hands in. Coming up to sit just back on the heels. If you feel okay here, you can stay here. If you need to, grab a block, throw it under, like between your ankles so you have something to sit on that's not your ankles. We don't want any discomfort here in the ankles. We want everything nice and strong. I'm going to take a big breath in, reach the arms forward and up, just like we started with. But this time as you exhale, draw the elbows down and back, open the chest. Cactus arms, you can wiggle the fingers. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, sweep it down into a child's pose. It's a nice slow movement. It's not crazy or fast or anything like that. Inhale, we reach the arms back up. Exhale, open the chest, cactus arms. Inhale, reach back up. And exhale, sweep it down, child's pose. Let's do that again. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, stretch for the ceiling. Exhale, child's pose, and we're going to hang out here. Now we can relax into the child's pose, down into the floor. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Let's take another breath here. It just feels good. Inhale. Exhale. Bring the palms to the floor under the shoulders and slowly sit yourself up. Hands can rest on the thighs. Take a moment. Maybe wiggle it out. See what feels nice. All right. Walking the hands forward into a tabletop position. Sway the hips side to side. You can even rock side to side on the palms. Maybe moving on to half circles, side, back, side. Everything should feel a little bit more open. It should feel really nice. And then bring it back to stillness. Back to tabletop. Pressing the floor away, nice and strong. Take the right leg, reach it all the way back. And then slowly bring it up towards the chest. Squeezing it in. And then reach it back out. Let's do that again. Draw the right knee up towards the chest. We're not really rounding the spine much here. It's kind of staying in tabletop, just pulling the knee towards the sternum. Wow, words are hard. Reach the right leg back out. This time, draw the knee in. Maybe you come up to the fingertips and step the right foot forward. Grab those blocks if you need them. You're going to draw the weight forward and down, coming into a really, really nice stretch for the left hip flexors. Make sure your heel is stacked right under your knee. Scooch that foot forward until you've got that wonderful alignment so everything is supported. If you don't have blocks handy, you can always bring the hands up to the thighs, or thigh rather, just the one is up in front. Well, inhale, shift the weight back enough to release the stretch. And then exhale, bring it forward. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale and forward, finding that slow motion movement again. Inhale, bring it back, working through every little bit of space. Exhale, draw it forward. Planting the left hand down into the floor. Take the right fingers and reach them forward. Reach them up. Reach them back. And we're going to make a couple of circles there. It should feel really nice. Opening out. Keep pushing the floor away with the left hand. And then release the right hand back down. We'll walk the hands back. Let the right toes lift up off the floor. And think about really pulling back through the right hip. Notice if when you pull back, your thigh goes, ugh. Try to relax that. Let the hamstring stretch. You can point and flex through the right toes, playing with the stretch. I find it's always less hateful if you can play with it. And then rock it forward. Take the right hand to the inside of the foot and just step the right knee back. Find your child's pose. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Meet me back in tabletop. Taking your time. Reset. We'll reach back through the left leg and draw the knee up into the chest. Reach it all the way back nice and strong. And draw it in. Reach it back. Pull it in. Maybe coming up to the fingertips and try to step the left foot forward. Ooch and scooch as much as you need to make sure the knee is stacked over the heel. Drawing the weight forward and down. Finding that matching stretch on the right hip flexors. As the right leg softens a little bit more, check in with your left leg. Make sure your knee is stacked. Good alignment here. And then we'll inhale, shift it back to release the stretch. Exhale, bring it forward. Inhale, shift it back. Exhale and forward. One more time, let's bring it back. And then exhale forward, planting the right hand down. Left fingers reach forward. Reach up, reach back. Circles at your own pace. Opening through the shoulder, opening through the chest a little bit. And release it down to the floor. So we can walk the hands back, let the left toes lift up. Nice big stretch over the leg, really pulling the left hip back. Now you can play with it by pointing and flexing, rolling over the heel. You can keep it small too. Just a little bit of movement is enough, then great. Let's walk the hands forward. Take the left hand to the inside of the foot so we can bring the knee back. Set the hips back, child's pose. Walk the hands all the way in. Take a deep breath, sitting up on the heels. All right, let's take the legs around. You're just going to scoot your tush forward towards the middle of the mat and slowly lower down. Taking a second here, you can take your feet wider than the mat and do some of those windshield wipers like we did earlier. And they feel a little bit different now that our bodies are warmed up and also because our upper body's on the floor. Really play in the space. See what feels good, see what range of motion works for you, but don't force it. There's a huge difference between pushing it and forcing it. We don't ever want to force it. That's where we get hurt. All right, one more time to the left and bring it back to center. Walk the feet in so your heels are hip-width distance apart. And we'll draw the right knee up into the chest, hug it in nice and tight, and then cross the right ankle over the left knee, letting the knee press out. So that movement we did from the hip earlier, I want you to find that same kind of movement here in the right leg. So you're pushing the knee away and pulling it toward your face, alternating between those two movements, using just the strength of the hip. Coming back to a neutral position, let's draw the left knee up towards the chest. If it feels all right, you can get a hold of the back of the left thigh, or maybe even over the top of the left shin. Just depends on you, your structure, your flexibility, how you're feeling today. And if you want to, if you just don't want to, don't do it. Maybe find a gentle side-to-side movement in this stretch. Play with it, see how it feels. And then slowly release the left foot back down to the floor. Uncross the right ankle, foot down. Left knee draws up into the chest, hug the knee in nice and tight. Crossing the left ankle over the right knee, we press the knee away. Finding that movement, strength in the hip, drawing the knee towards your face, pushing the knee away. Very subtle mobility technique. The more strength we build in a joint, the more range of motion you have in it. The more range of motion you have in it, the less likely you are to get injured. All right, finding that neutral position. And then draw the right knee up into the chest. You can get a hold of the back of the right thigh, or maybe over the top of the right shin, softening into the stretch, maybe finding that gentle side to side movement. Bring it back to stillness. Slowly release the foot down to the floor, uncross the ankle. Left foot comes down, and then maybe just find some pelvic tilts where you curl the sit bones, curl the tailbone up towards the ceiling, and then press them down into the floor. If your lower back comes off the floor here, that's fine. Just as much movement as you personally are able to find. Let's draw both knees up into the chest. See if you can give them a big hug. Hug them in nice and tight. And then release the left leg long. We're going to straighten the left leg all the way out so that we can gently guide the right knee over towards the floor. Now I want you to take your left hand and make a fist and put your knee on the fist. This will just make it a more gentle twist, closing the gap between your knee and the floor. If it feels okay to bring your knee to the floor, grand. Go ahead and do that. Right arm is going to stretch up for the ceiling, reaching all the way up high, and then slowly draw a line down the wall to the floor if you can. If your arm is floating, if your shoulder's floating, that is perfectly okay, but we want to keep the knee grounded down. This helps protect the lower back. Now, as you're hanging out here, I want you to try and relax. Soften your glutes, soften your face, soften your breath. Just relax into the floor. One last wonderful twist. And gently and carefully guide the right knee back to center. Set the foot down to draw the left knee up into the chest. We'll straighten out through the right knee. Guide the left knee across the body. Make a fist with your right hand to make a connection with the floor. You can also use a block here, but I find I never remember to grab a block before I start this one, so your fist is a good substitute. If you have the range of motion, if it feels good, you can also release the knee to the floor. Left fingers reach up towards the ceiling and then slowly draw that line down the wall to the floor. Relaxing through the legs, the glutes, the face, breath, softening into the twist. And very gently work it back to center. And set the left foot down to pull the right knee up, and then pull both knees up into the chest. Hug them in and see if you can reach out through the sit bones, flattening the lower back to the floor. Set one foot and then the other down. Feet are hip width distance apart. You can have the hands on the hips for stabilization, or you can press the palms into the floor. It's totally up to you. I'm just going to lift the hips up. I want you to press into the heels, almost like you're trying to push the hips up toward your face, and then slowly lower it back down. Lift, push the hips up, lower back down. One last time, we'll press the hips up strong, lower it down, straighten out one leg and then the other. Maybe your palms rotate to face up. Taking a deep breath in, big breath out. Relaxing into the floor. We're going to take a few deep breaths here. Notice if you're holding any tension anywhere. Try to relax from head to toe, breathing at your own pace. Just deep inhales and full exhales. Notice if your thoughts start to drift to the rest of your day, and then just gently guide them back to your breath. And then we'll slowly wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Start to walk the heels back up towards the hips. And draw the knees up into the chest, give them a little bit of a hug. One hand to each knee, cross the ankles, and then give yourself a gentle rock and roll to sit all the way up. Maybe keeping the eyes closed here, keeping the face soft, just working your way into a comfortable seated position. Hands can rest on the knees or just rest in the lap. I want to leave you with a thought or an affirmation or a mantra or whatever you need it to be for the day. You're welcome to repeat it after me. You're welcome to just keep it in your mind, keep it in your heart. That thought is, today I will be gentle with myself. Maybe what that means for you is that you do something special for yourself today. Maybe what that means is that you say no to something if that's what you need. Maybe that just means that you're going to take it a little slow. Let yourself enjoy the day without any frantic energy. Today, I will be gentle with myself. Thank you so much for joining me. I invite you to bring your hands together at the heart, thumbs pressing into the sternum. Light in me honors and acknowledges the light in you. Namaste. If you have any questions or thoughts, you're welcome to drop them in the comments below. And I hope to see you next time.